This is a brief history of the ghost town known as Carrara, Nevada, brought to you by Ghost Town Wonders. Good morning. Today we're going to take a trip up to a place known as Carrara, Nevada. It's an old marble quarry. It was active in the early 1900s, like 1913 through 16. We're going to go take some videos and do YouTube history of it. We're ready to travel down the road. Got the trusty coffee for the drive, and let's go make some videos. For those of you who've actually made the drive between Las Vegas and Reno, perhaps may have noticed these concrete foundations adjacent to Highway 95. These first foundations that we run across are just south of the town of Beatty. The ones that are closest to Highway 95 are the foundations left behind that once was the finishing mill for the marble that came out of Carrara and then got loaded up on the Las Vegas and Tonopah Railroad. The town of Carrara was founded in February of 1913. It was reported in the Goldfield Tribune that this new town site was going to be a model community. The town site was created by the American Carrara Marble Company. The mining and production of marble had been going on for some 3 years prior to the establishment of the town. The promoters of the marble mine and the town site had printed in the local newspaper at the time, Goldfield Tribune, that they were going to set a day aside for dedication of the new town site. This special day, of course, was not going to happen without first the installation of electric lights, water supply, telegraph, and telephone services. There were delays, but Townsite Day was finally set in May of 1913. It was quite the event. Good news for those around the area. Rhyolite was in major decline at this particular time, and the Bullfrog District was suffering. They had a lot of high hopes for this new town, saying that there was many as 400 new jobs. Visitors from all over the location came around and they partied all night long, according to the newspaper report. This town was laid out quite different than those towns of the time. They had wide boulevards and large avenues, anywhere from 80 feet wide to 100 foot in width, and they even had a fountain in the town plaza. This is the pipeline that is the source of water for Carrara. It comes from a place known as Gold Center some 9 miles away. It is said that the occupants of homes in the town will be afforded free water for the first year of their residency. Most importantly, this is the source that feeds their fountain located in their town plaza. This is a photo of 1913 showing two unnamed persons enjoying their time at the fountain. Here are a few photos of the fountain as it exists today. It's quite intact, as you can see. Those tree stumps shown in the foreground were actually North Carolina poplars that were planted in March of 1914 near the fountain and around the hotel and townsite office. They were thriving on excess water from the fountain. By early 1915, large-scale marble production was in full stride. The town continued to import buildings from Rhyolite. Rhyolite had been failing for quite some time. A newspaper article said Rhyolite's on the move again, headed towards the Marble City. This is a photo of two ladies having fun in a rare snowfall. The photo is dated 1914. This photo is showing a child playing in front of a residence. You can see that they thought they had lots of water because they had planted cottonwood trees in the front yards. Carrara got its start by a marble company, and Carrara is actually referring to an area over in Italy that's very popular at the time for its marble. Carrara was established in 1913, had its heydays from 1913 to 1916, and then it kind of died off. And from what I read, the last resident was in 1924, and that resident was staying here to kind of help a mine and its residents nearby that was a gold mine after the marble mine collapsed, or didn't collapse, but it quit mining marble in 1924, and it had very little activity between 1916 and 1924. So we're just going to walk along up here to the town square and check it out. This would have been an area that was all the major functions and gatherings throughout the time that Carrara was in existence. Ring for the fountain straight ahead. Those two tree stumps right there that are in the foreground here was quite the prized possession for this area. They survived rather well as long as the water was running in the fountain, and they were known as Carolina poplars. But as you can see, obviously this has been, many years ago, and they're long since gone. Looking over there to the left, you'll see some remnants of foundation. This area right in here that we're looking at would have been the townsite office. That foundation might have been the townsite office. And there was also the Carrara Hotel right here in this immediate area. The town square right at the intersection, Carrara and 4th Street. Behind me in the distance, you should be able to see a road that goes straight up into the canyon. It's now a road. It was a rail bed and a railroad that went up to the actual mine, the quarry, where they actually mined the marble. It was not powered by locomotive or diesel power. As I understand, most of it was just by cable and gravity. But that's quite a fascinating drive up in there. I went up there yesterday, saw some bighorn sheep, saw a rattlesnake. Beautiful views from up there. This is one of the chimneys in the foundations, probably of a resident. It's probably one of the most complete out here in Carrara. As I was talking about before, nothing much left but the foundations. Everything else has been either salvaged or hauled off. You do see remnants of, looks like stovepipe. It's not heavy enough to be any kind of pressure pipe, so it's probably just stovepipe. Foundation of somebody's home. Somebody for the fire. And there goes that trail all the way up into the canyon where the marble was. You can see when you walk around here, there's a lot of tin cans everywhere, and it looks like perhaps they didn't have a organized landfill dump, but just full of tin cans. Looked like they just threw them right outside their windows, basically. And this is what I mean by their tin cans everywhere. There was a lot of places throughout this town. As I was walking, you could see these piles everywhere, and they were probably just adjacent to residences and maybe businesses, but that's the way you used to dispose of their trash back in the day, I guess. This is the road that leads from the townsite of Carrara up to the quarry. This also was the same path that was used for the railroad that was operated by gravity. From there, they loaded the large blocks of marble and shipped it down to the finishing plant. I just wanted to give you guys an indication or an idea of the road as I got closer to the actual quarry. This is at the end or the top of the road. The road actually sort of went away. I was just following a path as best I could see. You can see the quarry up on the left upper side there where the hole in the wall is. We're going to venture a walk up over in this area. You can see the quarries right standing over there. You can see a bench over there. That's where the quarry camp was. That's where some of the crews, I guess, apparently stayed. You can see that flat level spot. We'll go walk over there and check it out. I probably could have picked my way through this with my truck, but I decided it might not be a good idea since I'm by myself. So we're going to venture a walk up there. We're going to start walking up the quarry here. I got, just to give you guys an idea, the last half mile I've had to hike up, and unfortunately I ran across a rattlesnake, but I didn't have my camera on. I think I got some still shots, but still never fun. That takes the fun right out of it. But you can see the quarry, the marble quarry. This is a photograph of the snake I ran across. Fortunately, I saw him before he saw me, and he didn't coil until the last minute. You can see there's quite large chunks. But I understand the quality of this marble from this quarry ended up not being very good. And that's part of why it got abandoned early on. Over the course of 28 months, the American Carrara Marble Company had opened up the quarries, brought in electricity and water, built a railroad, and strung an immense amount of cable. Everything in the quarry was operated by electrical power, and it seemed the only thing that could possibly go wrong would be if the power supply were cut off, and that's exactly what happened. Work on the quarries suddenly stopped in December 1916, and it was not by the choice of the American Carrara Marble Company. Without any advance warning and a unilateral move inconceivable today, the Nevada and California Power Company decided they weren't getting enough revenue from their Southern Nevada line. So they cut off the power supply and began dismantling the equipment. The Public Service Commission instructed the District Attorney of Nye County to at once secure an injunction against the company and prevent it from further dismantling the system. Without notice to the Public Service Commission, the power company arbitrarily canceled its contracts to furnish light and power. And in December 1916, the power company withdrew the service from people of Rhyolite, Beatty, Carrara, and Pioneer, leaving them all in darkness and without power to operate their properties. The Carrara Marble Company had 100 men working for them at the time power was cut off. The company attempted to find ways to continue operations. What work they could do was curtailed in 1917 and was pretty much stopped altogether for the installation of new electrical equipment. By February of 1918, they had installed a 240 horsepower Western gas engine, a generator that would provide power for them to continue operations at the quarry. The little work and the promise of a resumption of work sustained the town of Carrara for the next several years. The last baby born there was born in 1923. Later that year, the quarry shut down for good. The photo that you see here is looking down towards the valley floor. That structure right before us there was actually part of the rail bed. There's a concrete culvert underneath, but over the years there's been so many washouts that the road is virtually useless. You can kind of see a level area off there to the left. That is where the quarry camp was situated. This is just a random picture showing the quarry on the lower left side. It's just kind of give you an indication of how beautiful it was out that day with the crystal clear blue skies. This is a photo I took coming down out of that canyon. You're looking down into Armagosa Valley. That tan spot out there are the giant sand dunes that exist. Coming back down out of the canyon, I ran across these beautiful desert bighorn sheep. They look pretty healthy considering the chronic drought conditions that we have here in southern Nevada. While we're in the vicinity of Carrara, we're going to take a trip over to a place known as Gold Ace Mine. It was originally founded in 1905, and the original name was the Bull Moose Mine, named after Teddy Roosevelt, but no work was really done during that period of time. A group by the name of Boggs and Associates took over the property in 1928, and they began mining in 1929. The mining operations was a little bit too late to save the town of Carrara. Carrara had pretty much disappeared by 1924. This is the narrow road up to the Gold Ace mine. It's a little bit more dicey than I was expecting, but it was impossible at this point for me to turn around and back down, so I had to continue forward. It's never a good trail when you can't see over the top of your hood. It's best to get out and track before you continue forward. This mine site right here is called Gold Ace Mine. It was originally discovered or claimed in 1905, but no activity happened until the 1920s. In 1929, the company started operations here, and it was only short-lived. They got a lot of work done because they employed a lot of people, but as always, something came along, and in 1929, the crash of the stock market and all kinds of other difficulties in the mining operation and in the organization of the company caused it to cease operations. Beautiful view of the valley, though. Those mountains in the forefront are known as Funeral Mountains, which are on the easterly side of Death Valley. And over those mountains, you drop into Death Valley and you can see the mountains way beyond. That's where Telescope Peak is. It's over 11,000 feet. That also is in Death Valley. Those muddy looking sites right there were where the mill was and the leach tanks were. That's the sludge that comes out of that process. Here's one of the mine shafts. It's not blocked off, but again, I usually don't go in those when I'm here by myself. But what a beautiful and gorgeous day it is. I hiked up a long ways up here actually, but the weather is so perfect. You can see some ties here that were probably used for some ore carts. It had a rail on it. Coming from that mine we just passed up and comes over to the hopper. It's rare that you will see rail, because the rail was worth something at one time, and they'll scrap that. So I'm sure it was taken up and then salvaged. Entrance over that way, and then you can see the ties that probably had rails for an ore cart. So from the Gold Ace mine, we're going to take a trip down to the ruins that were left behind of the Carrara Portland Cement Plant. For anybody that's actually driven between Las Vegas and Reno, or even up just to Beatty, you can see these concrete structures from the highway. I've always wondered what they were. Now I had an opportunity to go up there and check them out. Unfortunately, they are heavily vandalized due to their easy access and proximity to the state highway. The Carrara Portland Cement Company was formed in January 1941. This new cement plant was touted at the time as one of the most advanced in design in the country. Carrara was slated to produce two grades of cement, a standard commercial gray construction cement and a special high-quality white cement with the crushed white marble and white clay of its namesake from the Carrara Quarry about a mile away. Within a month of the formation of the company, excavations for the plant with a crew of 45 men were laying out the foundations and pillars for the installation of heavy machinery. This modern plant, which consists of the latest machinery for crushing, grinding, roasting, and mixing of the different ingredients for the manufacture of pure white cement, was powered by a 125 horsepower steam boiler using fuel oil trucked in from the Los Angeles area. The plant was completed in mid-May of 1941 and was getting ready to start production when disaster struck. The disaster was a fire. It is believed that a carelessly thrown cigarette ignited several tanks of highly explosive cooking gas and virtually destroyed all of the buildings and materials. Fire destroyed this plant in July of 1941, and it was later announced in September that the plant would be rebuilt and operations would continue. But December brought the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, and with the U.S. entering the war, the plans for the cement plant were abandoned. After a fire destroyed the place in 1941, it sat completely idle until 1947. That's when a contractor was hired to dismantle the plant. The plant was dismantled and a lot of the materials was shipped to Argentina, where the company was erecting a new plant. Unfortunately, this was a sad ending to the Carrara Cement Plant. They say all in, invested was about $1 million. The return on the investment was zero. That $1 million in 1941 equates to about $18.5 million in today's dollars. Well, this concludes our trip. We had a visit to the townsite of Carrara. We went up to the quarry of Carrara, and in the proximity, we went ahead and visited the Gold Ace mine, and then finished up by visiting the concrete foundation ruins at the old Carrara Cement Plant. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Please hit the like button and subscribe so that you can see similar videos in the future.